Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Boss Bitches podcast. Today, we have the wonderful Sam Lancashire on. She is CEO of Creating Lightbulb Moments. Welcome to the studio, Sam.
Hi, Debbie-Lyn. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. Been really excited about talking to you today. So today's episode is all about resilience being more than bouncebackability. So first question, tell us, what is bouncebackability?
Good question. So it's actually a phrase that I heard many years ago on a program called Soccer AM, if you remember that program. It used to be on a Saturday morning, and it'd talk all things about football, but not necessarily football led. And there was somebody on the panel and he talked about bouncebackability. And it was almost like when the team goes a couple of goals down, but they really dig in and don't give up and keep going, and they start to bounce back. And sometimes they'll bounce back to get the draw. Sometimes they'll bounce back to get the win. Fast forward that into sort of like my life. And probably a lot of people who are listening as well, your lives as too. And you get this sort of ebb and flow where, you know, you go a couple of goals down, but then you want to claw it back. That's your bounce back ability. That's that desire to sort of keep pushing on.
Yeah, I love that. You actually did a masterclass for our members, which was on bouncebackability. So I did know what it was. But when I first heard it, I thought that is such a cool word, because it is just a great way to describe like getting those setbacks, because life is always going to throw you curveballs and you've always got to make a new plan, you know. I've been saying this to my daughter just recently. She's just been doing her GCSEs, and I'm saying to her, like, you can make a sort of rough plan and then things will happen, and then you've got to just be able to pivot and change direction quickly, haven't you?
Absolutely. For me, it's a couple of things. It's like having a bit of a process or a plan as you're talking about it. Absolutely. But having your head in the game so that if something happens and it takes you away from your process or the plan, you've got this practice that you just lean into because you're used to it and you feel comfortable with it. And you're like, hold on a minute. This rejection isn't a complete failure. It's actually a redirection to something else. And it helps you sort of reframe those moments that can leave you feeling a little bit shit when you actually get a no. Sometimes you can turn it into something that does feel a little bit more positive.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice, really, around mindset, which is so important, isn't it? Especially when you're running your own business. But you started in corporate, didn't you?
Yeah. So I did about 16, 17 years of what I do, which is sort of learning, development, coaching and training. And I got laid off. I worked in a startup that I was headhunted to go and join, and I got laid off unexpectedly just before Christmas. So there's never a good time to lose your job, but just before Christmas seems that little bit more cutting. And because it was a startup, yeah, I know, yeah, it's like, oh, here's a gift. Happy Christmas. You've no job and no money. But because it was a startup and I was there such a short space of time, I didn't really get any redundancy or anything like that. And so I got my head down. I was, again, a little bit set back. Definitely the other team, if I was playing against somebody, was winning in this instance. But I got my head down and I thought, well, what do I do? Because I've been through layoffs before. And in corporate, it can be really tricky. So I said, if this is the time, the divine time for me to set up on my own, I am going to get on this course, the Start Your Own Business course in the new year. There will be a place for me. And if I get that course, I'm going to go for that. If I don't get on the course because it's full, I'm going to take that as a sign that I need to look for another job. But I can't really do anything now because it's 2 weeks till Christmas. Nobody's really hiring. So I'm just going to sort of park it for now. So fast forward to January anyway. And I put into this local authority course for starting your own business. And the woman phoned me up and she said, I'm really sorry, the course is full. Our next one's April. And I was like, I can't wait till April. I really want to get started now. And I've been teaching business type things. So I'm okay with some of the stuff, but it's different when it's for yourself, isn't it? You want to give yourself the best chance of success. So I really want to get on this course. So she said, well, let me go and talk to the tutor. I'll put your name on the wait list if anyone cancels. Long story short, she phoned me the next day. She said, I was so impressed with you. I've got you a place. We wouldn't normally go over the number that we have, but who am I to stand in your way? And so I got on the board next week. Yeah. So I took that as a sign that the universe was telling me that big setback of losing the job that I thought was going to be a really big play for me, a big global role in a corporate company, was a sign to redirect me towards eventually setting up for myself that I've been talking about for the last 4 to 5 years. And when I finished the course, I registered my business name, Creating Lightbulb Moments. I am the CEO, the Chief Everything Officer, because I do everything myself. And I know you know how that feels as well. You get a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And for the last 2 and a bit years, that is exactly what I've been doing. I've been helping create lightbulb moments for teams, for individuals, for groups like the ones that you run, just helping you basically tap into you sort of like your best self and really step forward in a way that helps impact your mindset and your performance.
That's brilliant. And where do you think your mindset came from? Do you think you've always been quite a resilient person, or do you think it's resilience is something that we sort of have to build up from bad experiences and bouncing back?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's something that I think about quite a bit, actually, because if I cast myself back to my younger years, like I was bullied at school, for example, because I was a bit nerdy. I was like top set for maths and English, that kind of thing. And so like my mindset there would have been, like say nothing, keep your head down, like almost like be invisible, because then you're less likely to get bullied. And then sort of like coming out of education, I bought my first house when I was 19. And all my friends were going off on like 1830 holidays or university freshers week. And I'm like, okay, I need to try and find a secondhand washing machine for less than 100 quid. So resilience was definitely part of like my mojo then, but I didn't realize how much my mindset activated it, because at the time my mindset, I felt, quite like not stuck, because it's opened up doors for lots of things for me, but in a very different space at the time to be doing what like my friends and my peers were doing. So it's something that I've definitely worked on. It's something that I have honed as very much one of the things that I do in my practice now when I'm working with others. It's like there's no point me giving you this great framework or tool if your head's not in the game, because you're just not going to take it in, or more importantly, you're probably not going to even want to. You're probably going to go, when's she going to ever shut up? Because I'm not here, I'm here because my boss told me to come. I don't really want to learn anything. So mindset definitely compounds the way that we approach things. And when it comes to resilience, absolutely, it's something that I feel that you can learn, you can keep building upon. And also for me, as I say, it's not a process, it's a practice in my life now that I do on the daily.
Yeah. Wow. So you've been doing, how long have you been doing this business for now?
So I'm coming up for 2.5 years out on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And how many people have you helped over that time?
That's a good question. So in the time that I've
because it'll be a ripple effect as well, won't it? So it'll be more than you think.
Absolutely. So often when I work with companies, so I work with other corporate companies, and I'll often be asked to come in and train their sales team or their customer service team or their leadership teams. And I'll train them as a collective. Some of the clients that I do, we can have up to 100 people in a class. It might be a virtual class or a bit more like a seminar. So they're huge. Others will be more sort of intimate, where I'll be working with them and then I'll be maybe coaching them afterwards and seeing how they put things into practice. So I would say in the 2.5 years that have been going, probably about 5,000 people. But when I think about how many people that I've coached more on like a one-on-one, I'd probably be looking at about 15 to 20 people a month. And that is sometimes where the magic happens, because you're taking what you've learned in a bigger forum or in a bigger class or a webinar, and you're sort of like giving them the confidence to build their competence so that they put it into practice and start seeing the wins. Because what happens when you're trying to learn something new? It's hard, right? It feels uncomfortable because it's different to how you've always done it before. And social media tells us that there's hacks for everything, there's quick wins for everything. So we expect results overnight. And if we don't get it, we get pissed off, we get frustrated, and we go, well, this isn't working anyway. It's a load of shit. And we give up, right? It's human nature. Now, when you're coaching somebody after they've learned something with you, you get the chance to celebrate the little incremental steps that people don't see, the magic in between those big wins, that the things that keep them going. You go, well, that's brilliant. You wouldn't have done that last week, would you? Well, no, I wouldn't have. And so they're the things that make them go, well, do you know what? I'm going to keep going, because then I'm going to get that big win that everybody's putting on their socials and what have you. And that is sort of like I said, where the magic happens. It's those small glimmers or incremental steps that help create those big shifts. Yeah.
Definitely is, yeah. So I've been teaching confidence for a few years now, and one of the things I use to teach people is building blocks, which is kind of the same thing. It's like those small, sort of manageable, achievable steps where you can start to see some progress, and that does spur you on to keep going, and build sort of trust in your own abilities. But I know how much impact you've had just on our community, because and one of our models, and obviously rejection is like a massive part of what happens in the modeling industry. You know, there's so many people going for one opening, and not everyone's going to be perfect for it, and it can feel like such a big deal when you get rejected, especially because we do work with people who are neurodivergent as well, and we do have that rejection sensitivity a lot of the time, and so it's really important for the people that we work with to build that resilience and understand that, you know, rejection is just kind of part of the process, you know. But one of our models actually came to me and she quoted you, and I thought that, you know, you've really had some impact there. And she quoted you and said, oh, because I said, oh, I've not heard back off so and so anyway. And then she said, oh well, rejection is just redirection.
Oh, I love that, and
Oh,
thanks for sharing that with me. Oh, that's so lovely that that's something that they took away from that time that we spent together, because it is often we get so hung up on you know, getting the no. And it's the same in, I train salespeople and they close, you know, 6-figure deals, 7-figure deals, some of them, and there'll be a lot of no's in there, and rejection is just freeing them up to kind of go, well, okay, I've now got time and effort and headspace to go and put all of the good stuff that I know I can bring into something else. And also sort of, if you have that approach, it can also help you let go of the sort of like the perfection in us, which sometimes comes from maybe, you know, wanting to do everything right. It can be conforming, right? Perfection can be people pleasing, maybe from when we were childhood. But having this approach of rejection is redirection. It helps us let go, stop thinking about being perfect, and start to take intentional action that gets us to outcomes. Because again, the more we do, and the more that we do it with good intent, the more likely we are to have good things coming back to us. Because obviously, if we're getting in our own way, we're not going to be able to put ourselves forward for modeling jobs or sales pitches or whatever your thing is, that promotion that you're thinking about. And as a result of that, we're almost trying to protect ourselves from being rejected, because it's our basic human instinct is to keep ourselves safe, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So have you got any plans for the future?
Oh, tons. So from my perspective, the business, I am looking to basically to grow my business. And a lot of business owners will say that to you, you know, I'm looking to, you see it online, 10x my XYZ or whatever it is, right? For me, you're probably laughing because you've seen it, right? For me, it's about 10x. If I was going to use that terminology, it's about 10x in my impact. So when I think about the future, I think about wanting to help more people lead with confidence, have this clarity of mindset and purpose, have the sort of the impact on them that I am helping them unpack their superpowers wherever they are in the world, wherever they're bringing to the table, and whatever industry that they're in, because we all have these moments where we get stuck. And for me, being able to sort of help them in the future is to keep them growing, to give them a safe place to share why they're feeling stuck or what's getting in their way. And then also help them with tools, with templates, and with mindset work that can really help them go from a place of, not just feeling resilient, like, oh, I'm getting dealt all of the bad stuff all of the time, and when am I going to get my break, to go, and do you know what, that's okay that I got a no right now, because I'm going to be able to come back from that, and not only come back from that, actually move forward from it. Because the minute that I stop and give up, I'm not going to be able to do any of those. And a lot of that is not about what you know or who you know, it's about your mindset and how you feel about it. So my plans for growth and moving forward are very much to help other people through my business be able to do more of that good stuff.
Brilliant. And do you work with people online?
Yes. So a very quick story. So when I worked in corporate, I worked globally. So I did a mixture of traveling the world and going to places all over America, India, China, Sydney.
Oh, nice.
And then Liverpool, Manchester, London, Dublin, and so on. And then also when budgets were tight, or if it was sort of a certain time in the year, they'd say, well, we can't do travel or bring people together. So we want you to train them, we want you to coach them virtually. And so I got really good really quickly using technical tools like the one we're using today to be able to facilitate workshops and training and coaching. Now, fast forward to COVID, because I was self-taught and I knew we'd be doing more stuff online, I actually went and upskilled myself to get better at that and got some more sort of things to put in my toolkit. That's what I always call it. That's what, like, with having like a growth mindset, I'm like, well, what else can I put in my toolkit or tool bag that's going to help others? So I did that. And then unbeknownst to me, after I was in business for 8 months and I had a fall and broke my leg for the second time, it meant that all of the training that I had that was in person had to be cancelled because I was sofa bound for 6 months, which is another sort of resilient story in itself. But being able to coach and train and mentor people virtually meant that for the most part, I was able to pivot a lot of the work that I was doing with my clients' blessing and still have the same impact as if we were in person. We just needed to do it in a slightly different way. So I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I've had over the years that have led me to this point, but also those resilient moments where I've been very much physically pushed back, literally like, get back in your bed, don't move for, don't walk on your leg for 6 months. But having the skills and the toolkit to be able to go out and still do that in an impactful way.
I think it's amazing that we've got this opportunity in this day and age now to be able to connect with people all over the world via our computers, because with me having a disability and people I work with having chronic illness and disability, they're not always able to get to in-person things as easy. Sometimes it's a lot easier for people to do it online, and so we actually run our workshops online as well, and we found that it works much better. People can book in at their own convenience. Oftentimes they're working full-time as well, so we run all of our stuff online now, and I just think that it's great because it means because I'm based in Southport in the UK, which is a tiny little town where no one lives, and imagine if I was limited to just clients in this town. We've got clients all over the whole of the UK, which is fabulous, soon to be global.
And do you know what? I love that for you. But again, that's like a mindset shift, isn't it? And I'll give you a real example. I went to a networking event last year and I was being sort of like introduced to a few people by one person that I knew there. And this lady said to me, oh, so you're a small business owner. And I said, I'm small in team. I'm not small in reach. I actually have clients all over the globe. And she kind of took offense to it. And I was kind of like, well,
you hate the term small business. It really demeans what you do.
Well, exactly. And that's why, when I was putting up my title, I could put trainer, I could put coach, I could put mentor. But like, for me, and also being a CEO of the type of size of business that I have, I also acknowledge is very different to being a CEO of a big tech company, of one of my clients, for example. But by nature of that, I am the chief everything officer. I do everything. And it's me and my dog, actually. My dog is in a lot of my social media and stuff as well. He's my branch manager.
Okay.
And also my
shout out to him. What's his name?
Deefa.
Deefa. Shout out Deefa.
Deefa dog, yeah. And Deefa has got his own resilience story, that he was abandoned. He was chained up with his mum. They had no food. We got him from a rescue in lockdown on foster. And he's not gone back, basically. He's adopted now, and he's part of the family. Yeah.
And job.
And he's got a job. Yeah, he is my emotional support dog when I'm chief everything officer of my team of one and feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It's like, let's kind of like, come here, let's have some pets, let's have a cuddle, let's play a game or whatever. Now, he's not very good at team meetings because he doesn't give me good feedback. But what he does do is allows me to do a mindset shift based on where I am at a moment in the day. And sort of going back to, your original question around being online, being virtual, and sort of having that capacity. If it's used in the right way, I 100% agree with you. It opens up so many doors and so many different opportunities. And sort of it gives you an opportunity to take action in a way that is different type of action if you had to go and see someone in person every time. So again, a real life example, sometimes you'd be like, oh, well, I can't go to that meeting or that event because, I'm not feeling 100% or whatever. Whereas you might go, well, if I take a little bit of time now and get some fluids into me, I'd actually be good enough to go and do that meeting for half an hour and show up as my imperfect self, but also be able to add some value. I'm going to do that. So it allows you and allows us to take more action than what we would have done, I feel, if we were constantly relying on having to be in person. And used in the right way, it can open up so many doors. And I've found that for my business, but also I use it for the greater good now when I'm training and coaching people. Like, how do you show up online if you're going to a sales meeting, for example, or if you're doing a team leadership meeting? How are your team seeing you? If your camera's off, they're not seeing you at all. So you're missing that opportunity to connect. And that is also a lot of stuff that I teach as well, that sort of grassroots stuff.
Because I have discovery calls with people, and the whole point is they can see me moving, they can see I'm a real person, they can look into my eyes, look into my eyes, not around the eyes. But it's just about getting to know someone as a person, and you can still do that online. And I think there's still a place for in-person events. Definitely, I run in-person events as well, and there's nothing better than actually giving someone a cuddle and having a drink with them afterwards. And there's connection, however, in whatever form, is so important, isn't it? And how we build our network.
Absolutely. And I think as well, I'm very much an advocate for in-person things. So I don't want to sort of misrepresent that. But sometimes if you've had some setbacks, the last thing you might want to do is be in a room full of people, because that in itself might feel overwhelming.
It can be really overwhelming, definitely. So especially if you work one-to-one with someone, something like this, like we're doing now, is really good, because they've got your full attention, you've got their full attention, and you can just sit somewhere quiet and rock on.
Absolutely. And it gives you, I'd say for me, it sort of adds something to my business offering, not takes away. And there are plenty of days, and I'm sure you felt like this, where if you've got sort of pain still from a condition or an injury or whatever, there are days where the last thing that you want to do is be sort of like jumping in your car and going out somewhere. And so the desire then is to not take the action. Whereas for me, I consider, well, what can I do instead if I'm in that situation? and having sort of the virtual tools really allows me to keep sort of pushing past the setback, which for me was breaking the same leg twice in 3 years, and actually saying, well, not only is that part of my story and sort of my resilience mindset, if you like, it is actually part of my business offering now, and I'm really proud of that. And for some people, that is why they'll go, that's why I want to work with you, because you've got this like can-do attitude that you're making things happen, and that's where we want our team to get to. For others, it might not be as big a deal, but they'll ask, oh, well, can you do some stuff virtually, because we want to keep our costs down so we don't have to bring everyone together, because we all live all over the place now. And I'll be like, absolutely, game on. But for others, it is really much, they appreciate that I can make shit happen, because if I can do it for myself, I'm going to be bringing that along on my sort of, bringing you on my journey with me, so to say, around helping your team get them to do what you need them to do. And it does make a massive difference.
Lovely to chat with you, Sam. I am going to drop all of your links so that everyone can come and connect with you. I'm sure that lots of people will want to come and follow you and look up how to work with you. So if people do want to work with you, can they just book via your website or book a discovery call with you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a contact me link on my website, and also on my LinkedIn, you can actually book time directly in my diary. So I offer complimentary sort of like discovery chats. And the other thing I'll say is that I really appreciate the opportunity to come on today, but I really admire the work that you're doing in your space, because it takes a small stone to make a big ripple. And I think what you're doing in terms of that, your Shine membership, where you've got people like me coming in to support you and others, and just trying to make things more open and accessible for everybody, as well as teach them things like resilient mindset. It's definitely to be commended. So I just wanted to end by saying that, because when you put stuff online, I'm super inspired by you and the work that you're doing every day. And I think it takes change makers like us to really make shit happen, and to empower people to let them know that they can make shit happen for them too.
Oh, thanks, Sam. That's lovely. Here's to making shit happen.
Absolutely. And I will talk to you again very soon.
You definitely will. Thanks a lot, Sam. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Enjoyed today's episode, and don't forget, we love to hear from you and get your feedback. So please do pop a comment, and please don't forget to subscribe and like the video and share it with your friends.